This is Hoopers on Hooping, becoming more. Tune in with your host, Jalen Dupree. Best podcast ever. Best show. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Hoopers on Hooping, Becoming More with your host, Jalen Dupree. We have our second guest, Shayla Smothers from Simpson University, the women's athletic team, basketball. She's entering her senior year playing basketball for the Redhawks. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. So I see that you're from Tumwater, Washington. How's that out there?
It's cold and rainy. It's a lot different than here in Reading, but it's nice.
Nice. And I see that you went to Black Hills High School. Is that in Tumwater also?
Yes, that is.
Nice. Did you have any special moments in high school? Favorite moment?
Oh gosh. My favorite moment in high school would have to be when we did Spirit Week and me and my friends dressed up as the Cheetah Girls.
Oh, wow.
And we performed in front of everybody, in front of our lunch and sang the Cheetah Girls song. We had the sweatsuits and everything. We won, of course, because we really looked like the Cheetah Girls, but that would have to be one of my best moments.
That's dope. Cool. And so, as you're going to Simpson, I see that your major is communications. What do you want to do with that?
So now I have a specialization, so it's mass communication.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go into broadcasting, actually.
Nice.
I want to be like the females that interview LeBron at the end of the games.
That'd be dope. I like that. You mentioned LeBron, so is that your favorite player?
Just a little bit,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, how do you feel about him on the Lakers?
I wasn't surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping he'd just stay loyal to the Cavs because he's just, that would just be a better look for him.
Right.
But I'm not surprised he went to the Lakers.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. That's a crazy look on him, that Lakers jersey.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's cool. So my first question would be, what brought you to the game of basketball? When did you start playing, start loving it?
I probably started playing basketball around 4th, 5th grade.
Nice.
I've always been the tallest person, tallest girl, tallest kid since I can remember. But my dad played basketball, and it was just kind of a given that I was going to play.
Right.
At first I played soccer, and then I just was too tall for that, so I had to go to basketball. And I don't think I really started loving it myself until I got in high school, and I started having an actual passion for it aside from what my dad had and what he wanted me to do, and I kind of learned to play for myself, which was good, a big difference for me. But I think that's what helped me get better at it, because I was actually playing for myself more than just the fact that people wanted me to do it.
Nice. Okay. Cool. How did you come to Simpson? How did Pringle discover you? Or
that's funny. So in high school and the AAU team I played with, it was out of Washington, and I always wanted to live in California and go to school in California.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
But getting recruited in California, unless you're super good, is kind of hard.
Yeah.
And for me, I said no to all the schools in Washington. So it was a weird thing that Pringle is actually from Washington.
Right.
His dad knows my dad. He knows my dad. So his dad actually came up to my dad and was like, hey, I heard Shayla wants to come to California. Has she heard of Simpson? And so, my dad told me about that, and I'm like, what is a Simpson? What is Reading? I had no idea anything that was.
Yeah.
But, I know Pringle didn't think I would want to come here, and then it kind of just all fell into place. I came here on a visit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything I expected, but I was kind of it's a Christian school. I went to a Christian school 1st through 8th grade.
Right.
It's in California, and I'm just going to go with it. It's kind of what I went with. It was basketball, and it was in California, and it was a Christian school, so it wasn't that was going to be something different for me, although I went to a public school for high school, but I think it was something that wasn't going to be different for me. So I was like, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to go for it, see how I like it.
Nice.
Because it was in California mainly, and I was going to play basketball. So
cool. Yeah, it just worked out perfectly for you.
Yeah.
I see. Cool. So, what motivates you to keep playing basketball? You know, a lot of people, they may give up around this age. They may stop playing because, you know, just a lot of things going on. So what keeps you driven to keep playing basketball?
That's a good question. I think success. I think my thing with basketball is you can never be fully satisfied. And I think for me, like, always playing is something I've always done. So sometimes you can get kind of complacent.
Right.
And I think that helps me with what drives is, like, I want to be successful. And I feel like I'm never truly proven myself and proven to, like, other people how the abilities that I have and, like, the abilities that I feel like I can bring to the table. So I think that's the drive that brings me, is that I always want to be able to bring that. And I think that's a special thing going into, like, my senior year.
Right.
Because this is, like, the last chance I get. I don't have any, like, ball isn't life for me, so I don't have any plans to, like, go overseas or do anything like that. So this is kind of the last chance that I have to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing that would drive me, is success and being able to prove to myself and other people, like, my abilities and reach the full peak.
Right. Nice. Do you think, like, basketball has changed your life? How has it? If it has, like, how has it? In what way?
I don't think basketball itself has changed my life. I think the opportunities that it's brought has changed my life. I think all the relationships I have probably consistently are all through basketball, pretty much.
Awesome.
All through here at Simpson. All my friends that I have are either on the women's or boys team.
Right.
I meet a lot of people through basketball, and I think that that's a good, like, bridge point for me, like a good common denominator for people, like, to meet people.
Yeah.
And it opens a lot of doors, is what I'll say. And I think that if I hadn't had basketball going throughout high school, I think a lot of people can get caught up in doing other stuff.
Exactly.
And they get stuck, like, doing things that probably aren't the best. And I think basketball helps you focus and, like, gives you a drive and gives you something else that you have to be occupied doing. And I think that in that way, like, the opportunities that basketball has brought me, like, it brought me here to Simpson. It brings the relationships that I have and opens a lot of doors into that. And I think also that goes into, like, what I want to do with my career and doing broadcasting, and I specifically want to do basketball. I think that would bring an opportunity because I obviously have background in the sport, so I have knowledge on what I'm talking about.
Nice. That's perfect. Pretty awesome. So this is a question I've always asked, you know, certain athletes, even football athletes, even artists. Pressure. Like, how do you deal with pressure of having to perform in front of, like, large crowds?
That's a good question.
Big games.
I think dealing with pressure isn't something that I still have overcame. I'm a really big person I don't really tend to trip off of what other people think or expectations of them. I think I hold myself to different expectations, and I have my coaches who are going to hold me to expectations. So as long as I'm going out in games and, like, knowing that I'm going to hold myself accountable and do what my coach is asking me to do and be there for my teammates, I think that that's all that matters. So for me, like, I don't really get too tripped off about the crowd. And sometimes I think it helps, like, build you up. Like, I think if there's nobody at the gym, it's like there's just this, like, boring vibe in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, I think if there's a lot of people, like, it gets you hyped. Like, there's this energy that's there, and I think a lot of people feed into that. And I think if you're not focused on, like, because a lot of people get focused on what everybody's thinking, like, in the games, like, if they're tripping off of what you do. But I think if you're focused on the game, and the people are just there to watch, you know what I mean? Like, you're entertainment for them. So regardless of what they think, it doesn't really matter. And that's just always how I've been about everything in life anyway. But I think that helps me as far as, like, what the pressure goes into. As long as I'm concerned about myself and, like, what my coaches expect and my teammates, then everything else kind of just falls into place.
Okay. Nice, nice. Is there a particular significance to your jersey number you wear? Like why do you why did you choose that number, or you just kind of got the number and roll with it?
Honestly, I think that I've had the number 12 since I can remember, and I've always just liked that number. And when I was younger, my favorite player used to be Dwight Howard.
Oh, okay, right.
And he's number 12, so I kind of just stuck with it from then on. And it's really a funny coincidence since my dad was number 21. Okay. So he thinks that, like, I chose 12 because of him, because it's backwards. And I'm like, I really just chose 12 because I like the number. And then ever since then, like, it's just been my favorite number, like, since I've had it. And then it's always just carried on since then.
Right. Nice, nice. I like that. Cool, cool. So I know you've been through many practices with Coach Pringle. So my next question would be, what is the worst practice you've ever endured?
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, for sure, hands down, it's been with Coach Pringle. That's without a doubt. Honestly, the worst practice we had come into the gym, I remember, when we were at Bella Vista. I think this was like 2 years ago. Okay. So my sophomore year. And we came into the gym, and I don't even think we had started doing anything. I feel like we literally had just stretched. And I don't know what happened, but Coach really just kicked us out the gym. He was like, get out, like, I can't deal with y'all, you're not taking it serious. All it, like, literally went off on us, and we're all just, like, standing there, like, mouths wide open, like, what just happened? And he, like, literally kicked us out, like, we left. It was, like, a Saturday practice, and the funniest thing after that happened is one girl's car broke down, so he had to, like, we all had to, like, stay around to try and help, and it was awkward because he literally just kicked us out the gym, and he was obviously mad at us, so he didn't want to help. Exactly. And it was literally the most awkward thing, but I think that was one of the worst practices. I will say we did have a really bad practice the other day when we had to do this thing called the warrior drill, where it's like, you've probably seen us do it before, like, we shoot layups and shoot jump shots, and you have to, like, make a goal in, like, 5 minutes and 15. Usually it's, like, 250.
Yeah, right.
And I swear to you, I kid you not, we did it probably, like, 10 times in a row, literally for the first hour of practice. And everybody's, like, dripping. Like, I'm talking about my legs are literally dripping in sweat.
Drenched.
And he was just not having it. He was like, all right, run it back. Every time we didn't make it, he was like, all right, run it back. Put the clock at 0. And I'm just like, is he just, like, he should just make us stop. Like, just quit. Let's move on. Like, for literally the first hour of practice, I was so mad. I was ready to just walk out at that moment. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those are tough. Sometimes coaches be, oof, man.
Yeah. He's very anal, I'll say that. So it's like, it gotta be perfect.
Right. Okay, nice. All right. Do you have any rituals that you must perform before a game? That can be listening to this one song, eating a certain type of food, candy, a prayer, or reading a book. Any type of ritual that you have before your games.
I don't have any weird rituals like other people probably do or like some people do, but I know for me, like, I gotta get hyped in some type of way. Like, if I don't come into, like, usually we come into the locker room, I put my phone onto the aux and the speaker, and we is just getting lit in the locker room, like, just dancing and yelling and all this stuff. Like, and if I usually if I don't do that, I won't play as well. I feel like I'll just like I won't be in it as much. Right. So I feel like that's something that I have to do. I have to like listen to music and like get hyped. Like, I'm not the type that like can sit there like with my headphones in and I gotta get in the zone like silence. I just can't do that. So like for me, like I gotta get hyped with everybody else. Like I gotta be all up in it for me. Like, I think that's something that I have to do, like, as myself. And it's harder, like, on away games for sure, because we can't really do that as well.
Exactly.
So that's a big difference between when we're at home and when we're, like, away.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know how you say you want everybody, so you put it on the aux cord. Because I've played with players as when I play, like, they put it on the aux cord, and it's just loud in the speaker, and it makes everybody start dancing or just getting hyped. So, yeah, that's interesting. But because a lot of people do like having their headphones. Sometimes I'm like that and just being straight zoned out in my own little bubble. So, that's interesting. So, with that being asked, give me your five top artists or songs you must listen to before a game. It can be any genre.
Any genre. Okay. I gotta listen to Beyonce at least once.
Okay.
Chris Brown for sure.
Okay.
100%.
It's breezy. Okay.
Of course, yeah. Who else I'm gonna throw? Probably Migos. They're probably in there.
Oh yeah, that's hype music.
Yeah, that's hype music for sure.
Definitely.
Who am I getting? YG.
Oh yeah,
100%. That's the first song I'm putting on. Big Bang will for sure be the first song I'm putting on.
Got you.
Alright, let me think of one more. Oh, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think. Well, Ric Flair Drip has been my number one hype song since it came out. I swear to you, I listened to it on repeat, and people used to get so mad because I was trying to learn the words so bad. I still don't know the words, but it's that song makes me so hype. I don't know why, but I don't know the words, but it makes me so hype.
I feel it, man. Is there one more or?
Nah, I'm gonna say so. It was Beyonce, Chris Brown, Migos, YG for sure. That's the first song that's gonna go on.
Okay.
And then Ric Flair Drip.
Ric Flair. Okay.
That's a song.
Got you. I like it. Okay. So, what do you think is the hardest part in being a student athlete?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Toughest one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do this two ways. I'm gonna talk about it here at Simpson and just in general. I think in general, there's so many things that go into being a student athlete. That so many things come with it.
Okay.
As far as the challenges that student athletes face, I think one of the biggest one that people don't talk about is mental health.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Just the stuff that goes onto your body that people don't talk about.
Right.
Your body is literally being used every single day,
every day. Right.
Pushed down, worked, all this stuff, and at the end of the day, you got to come home and come back and do homework, study for tests, and there's not enough time in the day to do all that stuff.
Exactly. Right.
And I know for me, it's hard. Being at Simpson because we don't always have the same tools that are available as the bigger schools that are having tutors for all their students. They have all those extra training when they can come back and get that nice recovery.
Right, exactly.
And we got one trainer, so it's you gotta wait in the line to go see him. And
True.
Sometimes you don't even have the tools to get fixed. So it's all that goes into being a student athlete. And I think one of the hardest things here at Simpson is the big line that is drawn between athletes, student athletes, and students here at Simpson.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a big line that's there that there's big misconceptions about athletes here at Simpson. And I think that's hard being a student because some of the teachers have those misconceptions that you don't take things serious, that you're only here for the sport. And a lot of people a lot of teachers get mad when you're absent from games. And so it makes it harder for you to learn and have that good connection and good relationship with the teachers. So I think that's one of the big things here at Simpson. But there's so many difficulties that go into be a student athlete that I could literally just go on and on about. But being a student athlete is a job.
It is.
We're really getting paid to be here and put our bodies on the line every day to come out here and practice. And on top of that, we're being students. We're trying to get an education just as much as everybody else.
Exactly.
So it's really a job. And like I said, it's a hard job. It's not easy at all. We're basically professional athletes, but added on students. You know what I mean? Just without all the extra stuff and without getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
No, that's a very good one. I feel like a lot of student athletes can relate to what you just said.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we have 3 more questions I want to ask you. My next one would be, Coach Pringle is an awesome guy. He's very uplifting. He's very funny also.
Yeah.
But if there's any advice that he has given you that you've always remembered, what would that be? If you can remember.
Well, Coach Pringle, I could say a lot about him. I would say the biggest thing about him is that he cares about us as people, and I think that's hard to find in a coach. As far as advice goes, I think the biggest thing that he could ever tell me is just always just do me, worry about me, get my stuff handled, because I think that's a really hard thing when you're in college because there's so many things going on.
Yes, yeah.
And he's always worry about our team, worry about your stuff, get your stuff done. And I think that's his biggest thing. And he's always telling us that no matter what, he's going to be there for us. His family opens up his arms to us. His wife is always there for us as well. So I think one of the biggest things about him, like, necessarily isn't just the advice that he does.
Yeah.
But I think you can come to him at any time. Like, he's always there, and he's a really great guy. Definitely. That's just, like, caring for us as people rather than just his, like, players.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, those are the best coaches that care for you as a human being, other than just their players. So that's important. Okay, 2 more to go. So what is your fondest memory of this past season? It can be a practice. It can be when you guys were traveling. Something happened on the bus. It could be anything. What's your most memorable moment last season?
Oh gosh. Well, last season was a whirlwind, to say in essence. But I think the most memorable moment is when we played La Sierra here, and this girl pushed Alex down. Okay. Alex Cooper.
Yeah, yep.
Alex Cooper down on the ground. And I got in her face, and I said some things to her. And she, like, backed up, and, like, a whole fight was literally about to, like, break down. And I remember, like, I'm just standing there, like, somebody's trying to hold me back, and I'm just like, I'm not even mad. Like, I already said what I had to say to the girl. And this other, like, really small girl on the other team tries to get in my face. So I'm like, you're, like, 5'4", I don't know what. And, like, Whitney Armstrong jumps in. She's trying to push Fallon Greenhawd. Like, we're all up in there. Everybody. And I just remember, like, what did I, like, like, I just started this fight. And I'm just standing here, like, nonchalant. And everybody else is just arguing. And I'm like, if something goes down, it's all on me. So and you know what's funny that came out? I didn't even get the technical.
Wow, really?
I didn't get a technical. We walked away, didn't get a technical. And I remember it's funny because Coach was like, he got hyped after. Like, he was like, that's the kind of intensity I want. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
exactly.
And we was just like, I was like, hey, you can't push my girl down and think that's okay. But, like, it was crazy. It was funny because I would have not expected that
to happen,
from, like, all that. I wouldn't expect that to escalate like that.
That's cool. I mean, at least your teammates know you got their backs.
Exactly.
That's the best. You have those teammates like that, no matter what. So my last final question for you would be, how do you want to be remembered from your teammates?
I think I'd want to be remembered as somebody that they could always come to. And a fun person, someone funny that they could get along with.
Definitely.
But somebody that is also, like, necessarily, like, one of their good friends that they could call after the season was over. Like, after, they can look back and say, oh, I have found a really good friend in Shayla. Like, I think the biggest thing for me is when someone introduces you as their friend rather than just their teammate.
Exactly.
And I think when you can walk away with that, I think that's a really good feeling to have. And you feel like I got more than just, a season with some players out of it. I walked away with friends, Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that I could want for my teammates to feel and get from me.
Awesome. Yeah, that's. I think that's one of the biggest things, and I love asking athletes that because it is more than basketball. Mm-hmm. Like some people that I've known still to this day, like they're like brothers to me now, just because of the sport and the experiences that we went through. So, that's awesome that you say that. But thank you for coming out. We appreciate you for coming out. And we are looking forward to watching you play this season. Very excited. Mm-hmm. I know it's your senior year. You got to go out hard with a big bang. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Hoopers on Hooping, Becoming More. And be on the lookout for number 12, Shayla Smothers. All right, you guys have a blessed one.